Hi guys, so I know I don't have like a pretty background, but whatever. So today I'm going to do a polymer clay for beginners video. So if you're a beginner, here are some things that you might need, and there are a lot more, but I think I'll probably cover everything. So yeah, let's get started. So first, you probably need polymer clay. So here is one brand actually that I use. It's Sculpey 3, and and if you don't know what polymer clay is, it's an oven baked clay that you model stuff in. Like you can model something like this or whatever. You have to model what you want, and then you have to bake it. So yeah, and this just comes in one pack of color. It's tan, and don't worry if you don't know how to bake it because there's baking instructions on the wrapper, and it shows the color too in different languages. And then it says 200, and the baking instructions for Sculpey 3 is 275 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 130 degrees Celsius, and then 15 minutes. So for 15 minutes, but first you have to preheat them. But you can't put them in while you're preheating them. You have to wait for the oven to preheat. Also, if you want a variety of colors, you can get these little small packs. And basically, it goes up to there and then that. And it's basically half the size of that. A little bit, almost half, almost the full size. It's just like this one's wider and this one's not as wide as that one. So, yeah. Those are just some, but there are a lot more brands of clay that you can get, and they all have different temperature times, but they're all like a little bit close to each other, but they're not the same like minutes, they're not the same degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. So yeah, some different color kinds of brands other than Sculpey 3 is Sculpey, which is basically the same thing. Sculpey 3, which I use. Fimo and Primo, but and Craftsmart actually, and Craftsmart is like the one of polymer clay too, like Craftsmart. Sorry for that loud bang, but Craftsmart is actually a polymer clay brand too. So yeah, Craftsmart sells a lot of things that you can get for polymer clay. So now, when you make your polymer clay, you're probably wondering how you turn them into charms, just like this. Well, actually, you need findings. So let's talk about findings. So some different kinds of findings that I have over here are eye pins. That is the most important part of making pin creations or charms. You have to, if you want to turn your creation into a little charm, you just add an eye pin, and then it will look something like this. So then you can attach it to a necklace or a bracelet. So there are a variety of different colors you can get. So I have gold and silver here, and and it's also helpful. This is the silver, by the way. It's also helpful to get a cutter. If you don't know how to and if it's hard to cut your eye pins down, so you might need a cutter to cut them. But I don't have one right now. And then I have jump rings, and basically these you hook on to your charms after they have eye pins in them to put onto a bracelet. And then you can use head pins, which I don't have at the moment, but I'm going to get them. And head pins are basically the same thing as eye pins. You put them in your clay. And basically on the top, it doesn't have a loop like eye pins do. It's actually just flat, and it's like a circle. It's flat. And you put it just like this. After you cut it down to size, you put the clay creation up to here, but you leave the little top still showing. So that's enough with the findings. So you might need findings such as eye pins, head pins, and jump rings. Just some examples. there are others that you can have too. Also, I recommend getting necklace chains and bracelets, bracelet chains that you can add your charms onto to make a little charm bracelet you can wear. Also, I recommend getting rings where you can just attach the ring on and it'll be a little ring for you to wear. And also, I don't think your rings don't have to have eye pins, because I've seen a lot of people wear rings that don't have eye pins in them if they make them out of polymer clay. So you can just take any like clay item that doesn't have eye pins that you really like that, or a donut, or Winnie the Pooh donut, or a sandwich, or whatever, and turn it into a ring. I'll do a tutorial on that. So yeah, it's good to have those kind of. And also, you can find those in the jewelry section at any craft store. I recommend Michael's. That's where I get them. So moving on. Also, you could have circle cookie cutters, just like in different variety of shapes. Because if you want to make a donut and you want to have a bite taken out of it, you can take a tool that looks like a flower, or anything that has bumps, and just make a bite out of it, and it'll look like a bite was taken out of it. And also, it's also good to have Japanese erasers. Some brands of erasers doesn't really matter because they're all erasers. So you can make molds out of these. Like I have a crate, a horse, a hamster, this little Swiss cake roll, a sundae, a seal. Oh, this part of the sundae fell off. And a cow. But there are many different. There are many different variations of Japanese erasers that you can get. And I recommend keeping them in a little box like I have here. These were actually just for my cookie cutters, but I keep my Japanese erasers in there too, so it's always good to have a little box that you can keep them in. Sorry, this video is so long. Now let's go on to tools. Tools are great for polymer clay because you need to use them in order to make something. If you want to make a mamigoma, let's say, you need a tool to make the tail and the back. So, yeah. Some tools I get, you can find at Michael's in your polymer clay section, if you have a polymer clay section. So there's one tool, and I like getting the purple ones. There's this tool that comes with it, and there's also another tool that I don't have at the moment, and it also comes with a rolling pin, so that's great. It's actually the brand Sculpey, and it's a starter set for people that are starting polymer clay. So I recommend getting that. And also, you want a blade. My blade's kind of bent up and stuff, but I'm going to get another blade. So it's good to have a blade just if you cut shapes other than getting a cookie cutter, because I don't think they have that big cookie cutters now. So yeah, those are for the tools. Also, there are a lot more tools like dotting tools for your acrylic paint, and we'll talk about acrylic paint next. This is a bobby pin, and if you see, those are little bumps, and you can use those to paint faces on your creations, like a chibi or a donut that you want to put a face on, or a ghost cookie, or whatever you want. Those are just some examples. Or a little terra panda head, whatever. Whatever you want to paint a face on. So I recommend getting a dotting tool or a toothpick. Also, you might need a toothpick just to make texture, which I'll make a video on. So let's talk about acrylic paint next. I get Craft Smart acrylic paint because that's the cheapest kind of acrylic paint that Michael's had, and they're only for like 75 cents or maybe 50, under 50, 75. So they are really cheap, and you can get a variety of colors. Here are just some examples: sailing sky, white. You can get black. You can get also neon green. So yeah, that's some And if you see, it says acrylic paint. And actually, I made a huge mistake. Hold on. And I got, this, and I thought this was acrylic paint. Oh, here's the rolling pin, again with the purple tool, so yeah. But I got blue, but I thought it was acrylic paint, but actually it's metallic paint, so be aware that it says acrylic paint, like right there at the bottom, under where it says Craft Smart, and not metallic paint, because by accident I got metallic paint, and it did not turn out good. So, yeah. But I kept it anyway, because I like the color. So, yeah, acrylic paint. There are other acrylic paint brands that you can get, such as Folk Art. I think that's the only one that I saw at Michael's, and also Craft Smart, which is you can find in the paint section. And then let's talk about other stuff. So let's move on, because I have to make this video quick. Sculpey, translucent liquid Sculpey, or TLS, as we Polymer Clay people say, TLS. It's like a cookie making, like frosting almost, and this is what it looks like, how it turns out to be. So again, this is how it turns out to be, basically. So it's just like a frosting that you can put on, and you can mix it with chalk pastels, like I did here to make the color, or acrylic paint. So translucent liquid Sculpey, and if you're wondering what it looks like, it just looks white. And then I recommend you getting Bacon Bond, and it's basically if you want something to stick onto a ceramic plate, which I will talk about later. and while it bakes, you can put some of the stuff under on the plate where you want your creation to go, and then stick it right on. And after you bake it, which you can bake it not on the ceramic plate, I don't think, but by itself, you can just put it on with Bacon Bond, and it'll stick. I think you have to bake it on the ceramic plate, but yeah. So those are really helpful, and they're both by Sculpey. I found those at Michael's too. All of this stuff you can find at Michael's. So all of it you can find at Michael's. So now let's talk about glaze. There's a lot of different ways that you can make your clay shiny. For example, here is clay that has already been baked and shined. It just looks shinier. So yeah, you can glaze it with Sculpey gloss glaze. There's also satin glaze, which is not as shiny as gloss glaze is, so that's why I got gloss glaze. And again, this is by the brand Sculpey, and they actually make a lot of things for polymer clay. So this is really helpful to get too, if you and get new paintbrushes as well. Obviously, this one fell off, but they work great for painting on gloss, glaze. So yeah, and there are instructions. So on the back, like on the side. So make sure you read that before you handle it in the bag, because handle it at home, because it says, start with a clean and dry surface. Stir gently and thoroughly. Do not shake to avoid air bubbles. And the first little tin of Sculpey glaze that I got, my mom shook it. And I forgot to tell her that you can't shake it, so it got air bubbles, but it was still great to work with. So my mom didn't shake it that much though. So yeah. Now, also something that you can get is chalk pastels. Now I'm running out of time here, so it's already 15 minutes almost. So yeah, I will see you guys later with part 2. Bye guys.